Hi, I'm Joe Roth. At New Jersey Sharing Network, we're committed to saving and enhancing people's lives through organ and tissue donation and informing people about our life-saving mission. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Hunger in the Garden State, next on Caucus, New Jersey.
Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, Fedway Associates, the Fidelco Group, Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck, New Jersey. Healing begins here. New Jersey Sharing Network, dedicated to saving lives through organ and tissue donation. Choose New Jersey. Our mission is attracting companies to the Garden State. And by Verizon. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and NorthJersey.com. And by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
Welcome to Caucus. I am Steve Adubato, and all across this state, as many people know, people are struggling with food insecurity. We're going to talk about what that means. Basically, we're talking about people not having enough healthy food, which impacts the quality of their life, and what exactly can be done to make a difference. We're joined in the studio by three people who are making a difference every day. We're first joined by Natasha, Rodgers, founder and CEO of an organization I am not going to make the mistake on mispronouncing. It is?
The Simuel Whitfield Simmons organization.
And that is named after?
My great-grandfather, actually my grandfather. He was the first person in the city of Newark to have a food pantry in the 1960s.
That's why I wasn't going to try to make that mistake. And Marlene Ceragno is founder of the Adult Care Brief Bank. And finally, Chip Paillex, president and founder of America's Grower Road, talking about the question of hunger, food insecurity. Chip, you've been with us many times before. By the way, all three of you are Raspberry awardees for making a difference, and there's going to be information up throughout this program. If you know of someone who is making a difference in your community, there's going to be a website. You can find out more information how to nominate folks to this very prestigious award. Chip, tell folks what your organization does and why it's connected to food insecurity and hunger.
Well, basically our program, first, thanks for having me, Steve. Our program is all about just getting healthy food, fresh fruits and vegetables to those in need. And we do that through three pillars where we grow, we glean, and we give.
Say it again, grow?
Grow, glean, and give. So our volunteers grow the produce at our three farms. They glean, where they rescue produce on some farms and supermarkets, and then give a very unique hands-on approach to volunteering and seeing where your food comes from and learning about hunger. Why
is that important? As we've talked in the past, Chip, the whole question of educating people about farming, healthy eating, sustainability of agriculture, why is that relevant to the question of hunger?
Well, I think that the reality is if you don't have a healthy meal as a child or an adult, you're not going to be able to perform at your best. And so, a lot of folks who are in need, who are faced with food insecurity, they don't know where their next meal is coming from. They don't have access to the basics. And it's critical not to just give them box and cans food, but the reality is they need healthy, fresh fruits and vegetables so that it improves their overall well-being. And quite frankly, there's a huge issue where folks don't have access to this.
Let's talk about urban areas. Newark, Jersey City, Camden, Trenton, so many, New Brunswick. You understand this, Natasha, better than most. The concept of food deserts, if you will, define what that means.
So for me, the food deserts are areas in New Jersey or areas around the country where the food is not available for families. Steve, thank you so much for having me, but I am that child who didn't have food.
Describe how you grew up.
And so I grew up in the city of Newark. I was born in 1971. My father was a construction worker. My mom worked for UMD&J. And the ends just did not meet. They didn't meet. Mom came home with her check. Dad came home with his. They had to pay the rent. They had to provide health care for us. And it was just not enough food. And so oftentimes we would go to bed hungry. And that really stirred a passion in me to be an advocate for students, youth, and children and families in the community who did not have.
Did your grandfather get you into it too?
Oh, he absolutely did.
What was his role in that?
His role was in the city of Newark to provide food, to provide clothing, furniture, household items, housing for families who could not afford it. And remember, after the 1960s, the riots, Newark was very dilapidated.
After 1967, right?
Yes. Yes, and it was tough for families to make it. You know, I agree with Chip. It's hard for families to feed themselves, so they go to bed hungry every single night, every single year. There's so many families in this state that do not have food to eat. There's mothers who cry at night because their children have no food to eat. And how can you go to school and listen to a teacher if you have not eaten? How can you focus on your career goals if you have not been fed? My grandfather was very pivotal in making us understand that a child could never achieve what they are set out to achieve without their basic necessity of needs. And that's food, that's clothing, that's the ability to have resources. They can't do it. I can't do it, and they couldn't do it.
One paycheck away, one event away, one situation away.
Absolutely. I mean, every single day. And it's not just what we think homeless looks like. Homeless does not have a face. It can be.
What does hunger look like?
Hunger looks like the person that's sitting next to me. They can look good and not be able to feed themselves. Because oftentimes we put on masks, we put on images, and we try to play the role of what we want others to think of us. We go back home and we just can't make it. And so I don't just target what we think homeless looks like. I target anyone who is in need. And what does that mean? What does it mean to be in need? You know, oftentimes we define that in a very small capsule of a definition. Need is, okay, I have no clothes to wear to work. I only have sweatpants and maybe sneakers. Need is, guess what? Mom doesn't have any money for the prom. I can't afford a prom dress. Need is, okay, everybody in this cafeteria has lunch but me. So we have to be careful on what we define need. Everybody is in need of something.
And you know, what's interesting as we allow each one of you to talk about your organizations and the people you serve, I'm curious on your end, seniors and hunger, and so many other related issues. Go ahead.
Seniors are the fastest growing demographic.
And your organization does what?
So I collect absorbent products for seniors who can't afford it. It came out of a need. My aunt became incontinent, and I found myself wondering, what am I not going to pay for in order to pay for these? And there's people that can go to a senior center, can go to a party, could go to the library, but maybe they can't because they don't have absorbent products. Or maybe somebody can't go to an adult care program and their family can't get respite because they can't afford these products. So I figured the same people that need food, because my aunt was receiving Meals on Wheels, and people that go to Center for Food Action, they're already vetted. These people may not be getting Medicaid, but they can't live on their Social Security check. So seniors are really falling through the cracks. And people don't, you know, seniors are somewhat invisible. We don't want to think about the seniors.
Why were they not invisible for you? You are, in fact, known as, dare I use the term,
Please do.
The brief babe.
Yes. Well, they were calling me the diaper lady, so I renamed myself because the D word is like the F word to me. Sorry,
yeah.
but
you're also an expert at branding, clearly. So you went with the brief babe.
I am the brief babe. And
why not diaper, by the way?
Because it's infantilizing. You diapered your children and your grandchildren, and now you're a grandfather, and this one muscle's not working.
Right.
And I don't want to go to the store and buy diapers. You know, maybe if we could call it something else. There's a brand out there that their packaging has high-heeled, polka-dotted shoes for women, and the men's have like dress shoes with a suit pant, and that's what's on their packaging. So, you know, the manufacturers are trying to change it, but the stigma is very strong.
Marlene, how's this connected to the hunger question?
Because the same people that can't afford food on their Social Security check cannot afford absorbent products. When I was testifying at a senior needs hearing about this one day, because I couldn't find any organization to help me afford these items. And to me, it's a basic human need. a little woman came up to me from the back of the room and said, "You're the first person to ever speak about me."
Wow.
Like, I wait for my Social Security check, and I can only afford to buy one pack, so I mark off on my calendar what days of the month I can go out.
You know, of all the years just about 30 years we've been on the air, I don't think there's ever been a discussion around this critically important, but just not spoken of issue. Chip, I know that's not your area of expertise.
Right.
But what's on your mind as you hear Marlene talk about this? I mean, the very awards are dedicated to recognizing people who are making an extraordinary difference in the lives of others. And I have no idea who nominated you, by the way. It's someone who understands that people who help others who are often ignored are the ones who need to be recognized. What's going on in your mind when you hear that?
Well, I think it's really, it's the senior population that is vulnerable. They're on fixed income. And the reality is that sometimes I think they're forgotten a bit. And so, I see a lot of seniors that come through our free farm markets. That's a farm market that's free, and we lay out produce for folks in these food deserts, as were described before. But they're coming out not just because they're hungry. They need food. They need healthy food. But some of the people, believe it or not, because of health issues, diabetes, they're taking the produce and they're living on it as a way to supplement the medication. They can't afford the medication for their diabetes, but somehow they figure out how to regulate their blood sugar with the produce we give them. So, the senior population is vulnerable, and it strikes me because obviously every generation is in need to a certain degree, but the seniors, it's kind of a soft spot for us.
As I'm thinking about this, Natasha, each one of you and all the folks recognized with the award for making a difference, everyone has their own individual story as to who motivated them, what motivated them, why they care the way they do. But the one common thread, and I should disclose that I host the event, I'm proud to host this event every year, that is at Ramapo. We've been doing this for close to 20 years now, if not more. I'm struck by the level of compassion and empathy. Do you think, I know it sounds like a philosophical question, do you think that empathy and compassion that we see in the awardees, is it learned or is it just in their DNA?
I think both. And let me just say, the Russell Berry Foundation is the best foundation I have ever come across in my entire life. And the reason I say that is,
By the way, on PBS, we try not to say the best, but the fact is this is a not-for-profit entity, so there's nobody making money. So go ahead.
The reason I say that is a lot of foundations, you have to apply for funding. You have to meet requirements. And Russell Berry just sees that you are compassionate and that you are helping others.
So by the way, as the website's up right now, what would you tell people?
Oh, I would tell people to nominate anyone in your community who you feel as though is making a difference in the community.
Define making a difference. By the way, it doesn't matter what time of year it is. Go on the site, you can find out when the deadlines are. But what do you mean by making a difference?
And I mean making a difference by putting others before yourself, your family, your children, which means I see what's happening in my community. Children are not being fed. It could be a mother that's taking in children and babysitting them. It could be someone who is just providing a meal for some community children. It could be someone who just gave some coats. It could be anyone in your community who is making a difference by helping others other than themselves. Because a lot of people don't realize that there is a lot of us out there that do not get recognized for what they do.
And nor are you trying to.
Nor are we trying to. And a lot of them do not have nonprofits. They are not established, but they have decided to be an advocate and to make a difference in their community. And to have someone recognize you, Steve, for something that you don't want to be recognized for, oh my goodness.
It's a big deal. As we go against this break, Chip, you have a personal story that you want to share?
Sure.
Your daughter?
So, you know what? I didn't realize that this compassion, I guess, was inside, but I think everyone has the ability. Really quickly, we had a garden. It was a daddy-daughter project. My daughter was 4 years old. I want to get involved in ag. Start a garden. How hard can that be, right? Well, when you put in 150 tomato plants for a small family, you're going to have a lot of produce. So We had extra produce. A 3-line article in the paper said if you have extra, bring it down to the food pantry, grow a row for the hungry. And thus the program was born. I had no intention, Steve, putting seeds in the ground to convert.
That was not the plan, Chip?
It was not the plan. And then suddenly become a farmer. But you know what?
Wow.
It's the best thing that ever could happen. So.
Everyone stay right here. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some of the most common myths, misconceptions, the things we get wrong when it comes to hunger and food insecurity. We'll be right back.
To see more Caucus New Jersey with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Welcome back, folks. We were talking about hunger, food insecurity, making a difference, giving back, volunteering, etc. By the way, I didn't give you a chance to share your story. You've shared a little bit before, but before we talk about some of the myths and misconceptions about hunger, do you think the whole question of giving back is just in us?
I think some people want to make lemonade out of lemons, and I think that's in me somehow. I could have very well said, well, let somebody else do it, or I can't find a program, but, you know, maybe there'll be one day, and I just decided, well, I'll do it myself.
Did you say instead of why me, why not me?
Yes, why not me?
You said why not me?
Yeah, why not me? Like, let's just do it. I mean, I have to say, it was my thesis project, so kind of all the stars aligned.
Sure.
I had a reason, but it's still, you know, to be the brief babe, it's not easy. You know, it's to ask people to host an adult care brief drive and always hear no because they don't want those products in their hallway. Versus if I asked them to host a diaper drive, they'd say sure.
For kids.
For kids. But think about it. It's Huggies, it's Loves, it's Pampers versus Depends, Attends, Tranquil. Like, you know, even the names on it, you know, like, I don't want those in my
What message
hallway.
does that send to
Society.
those who are older and need that help?
I love older people, and I'm always trying to make a difference for them and give them a voice, and they need a voice, and they need advocates. And it's very easy to advocate for children and, you know, mommies and
Feels natural.
newborns. Yes, but for older people that are just living longer all the time, I mean, what's going to happen when everybody's reaching 100 years old? And I facilitate caregiver support groups. Some of the caregivers are 80 for their parents, and their children just got out of college and like, now we're going to play,
Yes.
and now I have my parent.
That's right. Let me ask you this. I mentioned about misconceptions. What do you think some of the most common misconceptions, the myths are about hunger and food insecurity, Chip?
Well, I think it's, I don't think people realize how invisible of an issue it is.
One of six. 1 in every 6 Americans faces hunger.
Close to 1 million people in New Jersey alone. You know?
1 million.
It's huge numbers, and some of the folks that you see every day, the cashier at the supermarket, you know, might be trying to make ends meet, part of the working poor. So I think I don't think people realize how many people are working, but they're struggling, and what falls to the bottom of the list usually is food. It's fuel. It's putting clothes on my children, getting them out the door. You know, we have volunteers who actually receive the produce. They're guests of our free farm markets. And another misconception is they want to give back, Steve. They want to be part of this. So they come out to the farm and volunteer. They volunteer at the free farm markets. You know, they want to be engaged and have some ownership in this entire thing. So I think those are kind of the 2 misconceptions out there.
The other thing I'm curious about is because New Jersey is such an expensive state to live in, how does that complicate this issue?
Oh, it complicates it greatly because it's so expensive. So think about this. Think about you going to the grocery store for your family, yourself. How much do you spend a week on groceries? How much do milk cost?
My wife told me recently, it freaked me out. I thought I knew. I was off by a lot.
Listen, I can spend $400 a week. I have 4 grown teenagers. I can spend $400 a week on groceries, and guess what? They're gone by Sunday.
How does one pull that off?
They don't, and that's the problem, that they do not pull that off, and they're left with not having food to eat. And I don't understand, Steve, why in the United States of America, why in New Jersey, that anyone have to go to bed hungry.
Why, again, our sister program, State of Affairs, does a lot of public policy discussions and debate. But I got to tell you, I have not heard a whole range of discussion, let's say in our State House, much less in the Capitol in Washington, on issues of hunger, food insecurity, but particularly around seniors. Am I missing it? Is it going on and I'm just not hearing it?
Yes, there's over 200,000 hungry seniors in New Jersey.
200,000 of the 1 million, 200,000 plus are seniors.
And I think one of the misconceptions is that seniors have money. They have money, but they're outliving their money. You know, their investments, my aunt, it was right after the crash, what was it, 87?
2008?
And she just never thought she was going to live to be in her 90s.
She didn't think she would live that long, so the money ran out?
Yep.
And that directly, obviously, affects food.
Telephone. I only found out because her phone was shut off. And
That's how you found out?
that's how I found out. And she lived right next door to me, but she always looked pretty and dressed up and, you know, she worked 2 jobs for such a long time just to keep her house. So her Social Security exceeded the threshold for Medicaid by $15. And then they awarded her $16 a month in food stamps.
So, hold on, you just said $400 for your family, $16 a month.
Food stamps.
Why is there not more of a discussion about this publicly?
I think there's a discussion overall in terms of food insecurity, and but you know, in terms of the seniors themselves specifically.
Just hunger overall. I mean, look, here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, and again, it's mostly through the relationship we have with the Berry Foundation and hosting the event and meeting a lot of folks, and knowing that hunger and food insecurity is a big piece of this. I'm not saying there are not individuals who are involved, organizations involved, but there doesn't seem to be the kind of statewide and or national, hey, this is a crisis. There are people suffering, 1 million people in New Jersey, 200 seniors, as you said, every day. There's nothing more, listen, something is always more important than something else, but this is pretty darn important.
I have the answer. We're detached.
Translate.
We are detached from one another. I am detached from you, I am detached from you, and I am detached from you. I am living in my own bubble. I am in a community. I can ride down the street. I can see a homeless man living on the street, and I'm detached from it because it doesn't have anything to do with me.
It's not my issue.
Right. My family's good. My children's good. So why should I even be bothered or care? Why should I care about them? And let me tell you why you should care. Because we are all connected to one another. Steve, if you don't eat, I don't eat. If you're not good, I'm not good. So we're missing that fundamental idea of we are all connected. There's no difference between me or you. We all have the same needs. We all cannot reach our goals without support. So we need to care more about one another and take care of our communities, take care of our families, and take care of those families who can't make it. And a lot of people think people are not making it because they should have did what they were supposed to do.
They're not trying hard enough.
They're not trying hard enough. They should have did this. Sometimes it's just the ends did not meet. For my mother and father, they didn't meet. And if I didn't have the support system.
Working hard. It just didn't add up?
It didn't add up. And they worked hard every single day.
Did you know it as a kid? I mean, being hungry, of course, you knew it.
Right.
Did you understand it?
No, because you know what's so funny is that they embed that with love. It's like you know it, but the way that you're loved and taken care of within that unit, you don't really understand it until you get older, because at the end of the day, they're going to do everything. They're going to go hungry to try to feed you. So mom and dad is not going to eat so that I can eat. So, you know, you get it as a child, but you got to remember, I'm a child. I really don't get it.
Before I let you out here, got a minute left. I'm not going to ask for the silver line. I'm going to ask them for a message to everyone watching right now who wants to make a difference. Tell them what to do.
Take care of your seniors. Think of them as, you know, they got our country to where it is today. I think we owe them something back. And yes, we have to think of our community. And everybody, just like the Russ Berry, everybody can make a difference. One person can make a difference. You
The whole-
started
what
with
does
your
Angelica
daughter.
say, the ripple?
The huge ripple effect, but you know what that ripple effect is?
A few seconds, go ahead.
If every person took care of just one person, imagine what this world would be like. It doesn't take a whole lot, Steve. We all have neighbors.
Well, each one of you are making a difference every day. Cannot thank you enough. I look forward to seeing you at the annual event where we bring people together at Ramapo College for the Raspberry Award for making a difference. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, Fedway Associates, the Fidelco Group, Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck, New Jersey, New Jersey Sharing Network, Choose New Jersey, and by Verizon. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus, New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
My name is Dr. John Rundback. I'm actually the medical director of the Interventional Institute here at Holy Name Medical Center. Peripheral arterial disease actually is extremely common. It's one of the forms of hardening of the artery. As interventional radiologists, we perform minimally invasive image-guided procedure. Generally, the procedures we do are alternatives to what would otherwise be major surgery. Almost 80% of those patients can avoid amputation if they're referred for us for these sort of procedures.
Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck, New Jersey, 1-877 Holy Name. Healing begins here.